All right, all right, all right. Here we go again. Let's cut down this music and get started. All right, stop, please. All right, welcome back to another episode of Shoot the Hoot Raw. I'm Chuck Taylor, co-founder and chief go-getter here at CyberHoot, and today we're talking about something that's been driving IT teams crazy for years. Guess what it is? Passwords. Yep, those things we're all supposed to make strong, change every 90 days, and somehow remember them without writing them down on a sticky note. Definitely one that says, this is definitely not my password, right? So let's be honest. Passwords have been hanging on like that one outdated policy nobody wants to deal with. We've patched them, wrapped them in MFA, made them longer, stronger, and even more annoying. And they're still the number one way attackers get in. So today we're asking a bold question. What if the solution isn't better passwords? What if it's no passwords at all? We're diving into passkeys, what they are, why they matter, and why this shift is happening, whether we're ready for it or not. And more importantly, what MSPs and businesses should actually do about it. So whether you're tired of password resets, phishing attacks, or just hearing, I forgot my password for the 400th time this week, you're in the right place. Let's take a look at today's flight plan and get this thing rolling. All right. First up, the 5-minute rant. Why it's time to ditch passwords for good. We're calling it out. Passwords had a good run, but they've officially overstayed their welcome. We'll break down why they keep failing, why attackers love them, and why it's finally time to just move on. Then our CyberHoot nerd update. Faster custom hoots, stronger APIs, smarter messaging. Yes, we've been busy. Things are getting faster, smoother, and a whole lot more powerful behind the scenes. And we'll show you exactly what that means for you. After that, our open mic Q&A. Passwords are dead. Now what? All right, great. Passwords are going away. So what replaces them? What should you actually be doing right now? We'll tackle the real questions you're probably already getting from users and clients already. So, and finally, our hoot-worthy horror story, the Dropbox 2012, the password that opened 68 million doors. Well, we may have talked about this one once before, but hey, it's worth going over it again, because nothing makes the point clearer than a real-world example of what happens when passwords fail at scale. Spoiler alert, it only takes one weak link. So buckle up. Let's get into why the future of security has a lot of less typing and a lot fewer passwords. Okay. Let's just say this out loud. Passwords are a mess. They're not kind of flawed. They're not a needs improvement. They're just a plain mess. People reuse them. They make them simple. They store them in browsers. They write them on sticky notes. And my personal favorite, password 123 bang, with a capital P this time, of course, because security. And attackers, they love this because they don't need to hack systems anymore. They just, you guessed it, logged in. In fact, Verizon reported that over 80% of the breaches involved stolen or weak credentials. Not elite hackers in hoodies, not movie-style cyber attacks, just, hey, thanks for the password. So what have we done to fix this? Well, we've added, we know how to fix things. We added complexity rules, forced resets, password managers, MFA, which helps a little. But let's be honest, we didn't fix passwords. We just made them a little more annoying. Because the core problem never changed. Passwords can be stolen. They can be phished, guessed, leaked, reused. And if something can be stolen, eventually, it will be. Okay, so what replaces passwords? Passkeys. Anticlimactic, I know, but that's okay, right? Passkeys replace it. Now, don't worry. I'm not talking about. I'm not about to drag you into some major crypto TED talk kind of thing. I don't think I can even do it, to be honest with you. But here's the simple version. Instead of typing a password you barely remember, you log in the same way you unlock your phone, your device, your fingerprint, your face. No typing, no guessing, no. Was it an exclamation point or a dollar sign at the end there? I don't remember, right? And here's the magic part. Behind the scenes, passkeys use cryptography, which means there's nothing to steal, nothing to phish, nothing to reuse. Even if a user clicks a bad link, there's no password to hand over. Compare that to today. You got your password 123 exclamation point, your winner 2024 exclamation point. Let me reset it for you again. We've all been there. But with passkeys, no password resets, no phishing bait, no sticky notes on their keyboards like It's a treasure map of some sort. I've actually found one of those before, the sitting underneath the keyboard. Just, hey, is this really you? Your device answers, yeah, I got this. And here's why that matters. Passkeys are designed so credentials never leave your device, which means attackers can't intercept them because they're never actually sent. This isn't just more convenient, it's a completely different model. And for once, guess what? Security actually got easier. So here's where this gets really powerful. Passkeys don't just improve security, they actually break phishing too, like completely flip the table. Because phishing only works if I can trick you into doing one thing, giving up your credentials. That's the whole game. Fake login page, urgent email, your account is locked. And boom, you type your password, game over. But with passkeys, there's nothing to give. There's no password. There's no code. There's no, oops, I typed it into the wrong website. Because if the user clicks a phishing link, even if the page looks perfect, even if it says urgent, verify now or else, the passkey just sits there like, yeah, I'm not logging into that, right? Because passkeys are locked to the real domain, not what it looks like, not what it says, not how convincing it feels, the actual site. So what does the attacker get? Like they said in the social network movie, nothing. They get nothing. No password, no session token, no foothold, just disappointment. It's like showing up to a fake house with the right key and the lock just goes, nice try. And for the first time in a long time, we're asking users to be smarter than phishing. We're making phishing not work. So where did passkeys actually fit in your stack? Because this is where people can get a little confused. They hear passwordless and think, cool, we can turn everything else off right now, right? That'll work. No, no, no. Let's not do that. Passwords aren't replacing your entire security program. They're replacing your weakest links, passwords. And that's a big deal. But everything else still matters. Your MFA policies, your device trust, your conditional access, your user training. Passkeys don't remove layers. They make one of your most fragile layers finally a bit solid, right? So what should MSPs actually do right now? The short answer is don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Start where support already exists. Microsoft, Google, and Apple already make that available to you, right? Pick a group, test it with them, break it, learn from it. This is not a boil the ocean situation. This is a start small, scale smart situation. Make sense? Hope so. Here's the exciting part. This isn't some far off future. At CyberHoot, we're actually going to be rolling out passkey support in the next few weeks, making it easier for you to start introducing this shift to your users without friction. Because at CyberHoot, we do our best to be frictionless. Because this only works if it's practical to deploy, not just good in theory. Just as important, educate users early. Because the biggest risk with new security is not the tech. No, not the tech. It's the moment someone sees something new and goes, this looks weird. I'm just going to click on whatever works. That's how the security gets bypassed. Listen. Don't drop training. I wouldn't have a job. I'm just kidding. No, don't drop training because even in this perfect passkey world, users still need to recognize suspicious behavior, question unexpected prompts, and not panic click their way into trouble. Think of passkeys like this. They remove one of the biggest attack paths, while your policies and training cover everything else. It's not less security, it's smarter security. And here's the reality. This shift is happening. The platforms are already there. The users are already seeing it. The only question is, are you leading your clients through it or explaining to them after something really goes wrong? So, all right. Now that we've talked about where authentication is going, let's take a quick look at what's inside of CyberHoot new this week and to help you stay ahead of all the bad things out there. It's time for our nerd update. Boom. There we go, our CyberHoot nerd update. So first up, speed. We love speed, right? We fixed performance issues with custom hoots, especially for those larger customers. So if things felt a little bit sluggish before, I'm sorry about that. That's been cleared up. Next, our APIs and SDK improvements. We've added new group endpoints and expanded support for custom messaging. Translation, you've got more flexibility, more automation, less manual work. And we know MSPs love that. And speaking of messaging, you can now send test emails directly from your custom messaging power-up. So no more guessing, no more, I think this will work. You can actually test before you send, kind of like civilized people. And finally, a little cleanup. We removed that help me option from Autopilot to simplify the actual experience because sometimes the best support access are less support links. Yeah, we had 3 of them on there. 3 ways of getting support. I was confused too. Gone. Boom, gone. So overall, you've got faster performance, stronger APIs, and better control over messaging. So boom, great updates this week. Send them out tonight. All right. So that's what we've been building. Now let's get into what you've been wondering. Because anytime you say something like passwords are dead, people, yeah, they have questions. But guess what? First, boom, 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 let's go. Be the first to email passkeys10 to shootthehoot@cyber.com and get 10% off your next invoice. Type it in, click send, and get that 10. If you're not watching live, no worries. Email us anyway. I may just give you the 10% off. I'm a nice guy like that. That sounds kind of repetitive. Oh, the only catch is that you're limited to this discount once a month. So keep that in mind. Email us, send us a message, and get 10% off your invoice. All right, moving on. So let's talk about the questions that come up when the very second that you say something like, hey, we're getting rid of passwords, because it's usually followed up by someone saying, cool, but also, wait, what? Getting rid of passwords? So if you're thinking, how does this actually work? Is this safe? Are my users going to revolt? You're not alone. Let's hit a few of the big ones right now. First question, let's see. Are passkeys really more secure than passwords plus MFA? The short answer to that question, yes. The long answer, still yes, right? Because even with passwords and MFA, users can still be tricked. They can be phished, fatigued, social engineered. Passkeys remove the weakest part of that chain, the credential. No password to steal, no easy way to log in, no easy way in. All right, next here. What happens if someone loses their device? Well, that's sad if they lose their device, unless they wanted a new one. Anyways, great question. And this is where people get nervous, right? Passkeys are typically backed up securely in like the iCloud or Google, et cetera. And they're also tied to multiple devices. And most places these are recoverable through just standard recovery processes. So not really that huge of a deal. So, losing your phone, doesn't really mean you're losing access forever. So don't sweat that. It just means you can find the upgrade you've been asking for like the last 4 years, right? So I think you're all set there. Last question. One more. We'll do one more. Are passkeys hard to roll out to users? Honestly, no, not at all. But it is different. It's definitely different. And guess what? Different means questions. That's why rollout matters. You've got to start small. Educate early and support users through the first experience. Because once people start using passkeys, they usually don't want to go back. There's no passwords. There's no resets. There's no frustration. So at the end of the day, passkeys aren't just more secure, they're easier once people understand them. And that's where you come in. So before we all rush into this passwordless future, which, Cyber signed that to be passwordless this year. So before we all go there, though, let's take a quick look at what the password world has actually cost companies. Because this next one started with one login, ended with millions exposed. It's time for our Hoot-worthy horror story. Okay, let's talk about Dropbox. And like I said, we may have talked about this one before, but this was back in 2012. Dropbox suffered a breach that didn't look dramatic at first. There was no ransomware screen, no systems crashing, no you've been hacked moment, just a login, just a login. The attacker gained access using a stolen employee's password. That's it. One reused credential. I did all this work with firewalls and all this stuff. Yeah, a stolen credential. From there, they accessed internal systems and they quietly walked away with user data. We're talking about 68 million user accounts, emails, passwords, account data. Oh my, right? And here's the kicker. The breach wasn't fully disclosed until 2016, 4 years later, which means users had no idea their credentials were potentially exposed at all, while the attackers had a 4-year head start. Now, let's break this down. This wasn't some elite movie-style hack. No 0-day, no sophisticated malware, just a password that was reused and stolen. And at the time, many of those passwords were not hashed as strongly as modern passwords require, which made them even more valuable once exposed. So, what did it cost? Massive reputational damage, forced security overhauls, and years of rebuilding trust. And that rebuilding trust is probably the biggest part. And here's the lesson. The breach didn't start with a system failure. It started with a human habit, password reuse. Which brings us back to today, because everything we just talked about, the phishing, the credential theft, the reused passwords, that's the world passkeys are designed to eliminate. And that's the reality of passwords today. One login, one mistake, and millions of accounts exposed. So before we wrap this up, let's bring it back to what we can actually do about all this. Today was all about one simple idea. Passwords are the problem. Not because people are careless, but because passwords were never designed for the world we're living in today and how we're using them today. We learned passwords get reused, they get phished, they get stolen. And once they're gone, so is your first line of defense. Then we looked at passkeys, no passwords, no phishing bait, no credential theft, just secure authentication tied to the user and the device. And for MSPs, this is a huge, huge opportunity, not just to improve security, but to lead your clients into what's next. Because this shift is already happening. The platforms are ready. Users are starting to see it. The only question is whether you're ahead of it or reacting to it later. So here's a challenge this week. Identify where passkeys are already available in your environment. Test them with small user groups. Start conversations with your clients. Because the future of authentication isn't more, it isn't more complex passwords. It's no passwords at all. If you got value from this episode, share it with your team. Send it to a client. Start having people remove passwords and move beyond passwords today. Oh, quick programming note. We're taking next Tuesday off for Easter. So no show next Tuesday. I know. Boo. I put my booing soundtrack, sound audio clip. No show next Tuesday. Even our owls need a little bit of time off. But don't worry, we're back to follow it with another episode. Until next time, I want you to laugh, I want you to learn, and I want you to hoot up. Let's go. Hoot up.